What is good, everybody? AHS Rules back again with another video, and we're here for another Ring of Honor TV review, episode number 101. We're officially in the triple digits, but it'd be quite a long time before we get to the 4 digits, you know. Maybe we'll make it that far. Time will tell. But this should be a quicker ROH review, as this was a quicker episode of Ring of Honor. And I got a long weekend ahead of me. Cheap plug. Watch my Royal Rumble predictions and Royal Rumble 2008 retro review on the channel. So I want to get that off my chest. But let's get into this 101st episode of Ring of Honor on Honor Club. The first matchup is Aaron Solo versus Sammy Guevara. We get no code of honor. Solo goes to the outside with Sammy teasing a dive and then eventually hitting one. Solo stops a springboard into the ring from happening. Solo is hit with a running knee and pop-up kick to the back of the head for a 2 count, and then the two battle on the entranceway with Solo hitting a Canadian Destroyer and foot stomp for a 2 count. Per my rule, any Canadian Destroyer that is kicked out of, we give $1 to P.D. Williams, but the match would soon end when Sammy hits the GTH. Next matchup is Queen Aminata versus Allison Kay. Both women try to work over each other's arms early. We get several butt-related taunts between the two. It's also weird, because the butt, the ass, the bottom, there's several ways you can refer to it, but, you know, I try to keep it initially PG by saying butt, and then I went more buttocks. There's several ways I could refer to that. The two do several chops between one another. Aminata hits a running big boot, but it takes a while before the pinfall is attempted, and this means that it's only a 2 count, but the match would soon end after an Aminata headbutt gets the win. As now we go into the proving ground, and this is Komander versus Lee Johnson. We see an arrogant side from Johnson early after no code of honor. Komander's early offense is mainly arm drags and drop kicks, but is slowed down by Ndoku distracting him on the outside. He goes for several springboards after this, with Johnson hitting a Death Valley driver and running kick for a 2 count. Komander hits a sunset flip powerbomb when we're told that there's only 1 minute remaining, which, wink, wink, kind of, you know, an indicator we're going to get spoiled on the finish. But Komander is able to hit his rope walk shooting star press, but Ndoku pulls Lee to the outside, and before Komander we can even get a count out happen, or Komander pulling Lee back into the ring, the time limit has expired, and Johnson will get a future TV title shot. And for the second time, Komander's entered the proving ground with the time limit expiring. Next bout is Serpentico versus Brandon Cutler. And this is just one of those bouts that you look at it and you're like, why the hell is this going on? It's a bit of a head scratcher. But I will say that this match was better than I expected, which I'm giving a compliment. Fast-paced early, lots of Hurricane Ranas and arm drags. Cutler attempts a move off the top rope with Serpentico moving out of the way. It's not Samoa Joe-esque, because Serpentico didn't even really know that he moved out of the way, where Joe knows he's moving. Serpentico chops Cutler, adding insult to injury because Cutler kept his jacket on and he took the jacket off for this. Serpentico hits a super kick, a cutter, and a frog splash to get the win. Speaking of Samoa Joe, our retro match of the week is Samoa Joe versus Tony Deppen for the TV title. Now, there's several things I need to discuss here without actually discussing the match. Thing one, they chose this match because this episode was TV title themed, because we had a Proving Girl bout with the men's TV title, and our main event match is a women's TV title match. Thing two, I'm not reviewing this because it's already been reviewed before. Episode 2 on our ROH TV reviews, and I believe it was the first match on that episode, so if you want to know what happened in that match in detail, you can go back in time and do that to the very beginning of the series. Thing 3, I had also recently watched the match back because during my free time and during filming this, I don't like my screen being on blank, so I just put on random stuff, and I was like, you know what? I want to watch some of the Universal Studio Orlando episodes, because I always say the episodes felt better there. And I could give you several reasons for it. That could be a different video on its own. The main things that I will say, because I want to get this off my chest, well, especially, we only got 2 matches left. Thing one, and I've said this for a while, those Universal Studio Orlando tapings, those were ROH shows. Fans were going there to watch ROH, where the past year and a half, almost 2 years, fans have been going to watch AEW, and then they film ROH before and after. So the fans are not really there for ROH. And this is the main thing. A lot of times they would use one episode to build to the next. So, for example, on the first episode, we had Athena come out, and then Willow Nightingale would come out and challenge her. That's the match for the next week. Samoa Joe would come out, set up a match for the next week, where we just don't really get that anymore. We just get random match after random match, and occasionally we get the hyped up match of a true contender, which we get that in the main event tonight, but Athena and Willow, Leila Grey, Red Velvet. You tell me which one you think has more history and the better build. You can be the judge. So, I spent a lot of time talking about a match without actually talking about a match, but it's a Samoa Joe match. You should probably go watch it. Now, we do have a backstage segment involving the infantry, and they are bullying someone backstage, and they say they are willing to do this to anyone. And I believe if my ears heard me correctly, they're calling it the Crash Out World Tour. Next matchup is Blake Christian versus Evil Uno. Christian hits Uno with a smack, and then Uno hits him with an even more devastating smack afterwards. Christian targets the shoulder of Uno after a springboard he hits. Uno hits a nice DDT, but Christian lands a foot stomp on the shoulder. Uno hits a pile driver for a 2 count. Then Christian messes with Uno's mask, and by the time he's able to fix it, he is hit with a 450 splash and a kick to the back of the head for the Vanilla Baby to win the match. I really hate it. I try to brush past it, but Ian Riccaboni and even Blake Cruz are like, oh, Vanilla Baby. And it just kind of proves, hey, Tony Khan doesn't really mess with you that much because, there's several other talents that have licensed music. And Tony Khan didn't even blink an eye to do it for this. And I don't even know if Tony Khan knows who Jack Harlow is, so maybe it's that type of situation. But I hate it. I hate hearing the same thing over and over again, which I know this is supposed to be a joke. I didn't laugh the first time, and I'm not laughing now, but, we do have a no laughing matter here. In our main event, women's TV title match, Red Velvet defending against Leila Grey. Leila Grey issued the challenge last week, and this is labeled as the Battle of the Baddies because these two used to be baddies for someone that does not work in the company anymore, so I'm not even going to mention their name. Jay Corrigan. Anyways, Grey is aggressive early, with Velvet rolling to the outside, which this was just a setup for Velvet to start attacking. Several slaps are made between the two. Grey starts to come back after hitting a running knee and her bulldog into a dragon sleeper, but Velvet is able to reach the ropes. Grey hits a blockbuster for a 2 count, and then Velvet hits the mix to retain her championship. There's also a possibility that her finisher is called the Stir, but Stir, mix, virtually identical. Wrapping up this quick Ring of Honor episode. Now, on Twitter, they did not show this during the show, but on Twitter, we do have something to look forward to for next week's episode, as Athena will be returning from her world tour, so we will be here to discuss. I more than likely will be here to discuss that. This next week is very busy, but I always make time for my ROH review. So, like I said, this is a quicker review of a quicker episode of ROH TV. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one, because I'm out for now. Goodbye.